Chosen one, stop scrolling for just a moment. Take a deep breath and listen carefully, because this message is unlike any other you have heard before. You did not arrive here by accident. Out of millions of videos, your eyes stopped on this one for a reason. I believe heaven guided you here because Archangel Michael has something urgent to reveal to you today. Tell me, have you ever wondered why your life has felt like one battle after another? Why every time you begin to move forward, another obstacle appears? Why people misunderstand you, doors suddenly close, and the attacks seem to become stronger the closer you get to your breakthrough? If you have been asking those questions, then do not leave this message. Because today, Archangel Michael is revealing why darkness has been fighting you for so long. And before this message ends, you may finally understand why your greatest struggles have never been random. They have always been connected to the purpose God placed inside you before you were born. Stay with me until the very end, because the final revelation may completely change the way you see your past, your present, and even the battles you are facing right now. If you feel in your spirit that this message is meant for you, type 777 in the comments as your declaration that you are ready to hear heaven's truth. And if this message strengthens your faith, share it with someone who needs this encouragement today. Now, quiet your heart. Set every distraction aside. Listen carefully, for I, Archangel Michael, have been sent with a message for the one who has almost lost hope. Beloved child of God, for years you have looked at your life through the eyes of pain. You have counted the disappointments, remembered the betrayals, and wondered why your journey has been so much harder than the journeys of people around you. Sometimes you even questioned yourself. Did I do something wrong? Why does life seem easier for everyone else? Why does it feel like I am always fighting something invisible? These questions have echoed through your heart more times than you can count. But today I ask you to look beyond your circumstances. What if everything you called a setback was actually preparation? What if every delay protected you from a path that would have stolen your destiny? What if every battle carried a lesson that could only be learned through endurance? Many people think darkness attacks without purpose. That is not true. Darkness chooses its battles carefully. It does not waste its greatest efforts on lives that carry no spiritual impact. It resists those whose obedience can influence others. It opposes those whose faith has the power to inspire generations. Long before you understood your purpose, long before you discovered your spiritual strength, long before you realized heaven had placed a unique assignment upon your life, the kingdom of darkness had already noticed the potential God placed within you. That is why your road has felt different. You have experienced rejection that made no sense. Friendships ended without explanation. People misunderstood your intentions. Some walked away without giving you a reason. Others judged you without ever knowing your heart. And every time you tried to understand why, there seemed to be no answer. But there was always a reason. Not every closed door was meant to hurt you. Some doors were closed because heaven refused to let you settle for less than your calling. Not every relationship was meant to remain. Not every opportunity was meant to succeed. Sometimes what felt like loss was actually protection wearing the disguise of disappointment. Think about your life. How many situations once broke your heart, only for you to realize months or years later that God had actually rescued you? How many prayers seemed unanswered, only for something better to appear at the perfect time? Heaven has always been working behind the scenes, even when you could not see it. There is another truth you must understand. You have always felt different. While others were satisfied chasing temporary success, something inside you kept searching for something deeper. You could never fully silence that inner voice calling you toward God. Even when you became distracted, even when you became discouraged, even when you questioned your faith, that quiet voice never completely disappeared, because your spirit remembers what your mind has forgotten. You were created for more than survival. You were created to become a light in places where darkness believed it had already won. And that is exactly why the battle has been so intense. The enemy was never afraid of your past. He has always feared your future. He feared the day you would finally stop doubting yourself. He feared the moment you would recognize the authority God placed inside you. He feared the day you would stop listening to fear and begin walking by faith. Chosen one, this message is only the beginning, because in the next part, Archangel Michael will reveal the first hidden reason darkness has fought so fiercely against your life. And once you understand it, you will never look at your battles the same way again. Chosen one, there is something you must understand before you can fully grasp why darkness has fought you for so long. The battle was never really about your present. It has always been about your future. Long before you recognized your own potential, heaven had already written your purpose. Before you learned how to pray, before you understood faith, before you even realized that your life carried meaning, God had already seen the end from the beginning. The enemy could not erase that purpose, but he could try to delay it. That is why so many of your battles came disguised as ordinary life. Some arrived through rejection, others through disappointment. Some came through fear, confusion, loneliness, or constant discouragement. Each one carried the same hidden mission, to convince you that you were ordinary. Because if you never discovered who you truly are, you would never walk in what God prepared for you. Think about your journey. How many opportunities looked perfect but suddenly disappeared? How many relationships began with promise but ended in pain? How many times did you stand on the edge of a breakthrough only to feel another unexpected obstacle appear? At the time, it felt unfair. It felt as though heaven had become silent. But now I ask you to see those moments differently. What if some closed doors were actually answers to prayers you did not know how to pray? What if God was protecting you from people who would have slowly pulled you away from your assignment? Not every delay was sent to stop you. Some delays were given to prepare you. A tree does not produce fruit the day it is planted. Its roots must grow deep before its branches can carry the weight of the harvest. Your spirit has been growing roots. Every season of waiting strengthened your faith. Every unanswered question taught you to trust God beyond what your eyes could see. Every battle developed endurance that success alone could never produce. Many people ask heaven for influence. Few are will. Ling to endure the preparation required to carry it. Chosen one, your preparation has not been wasted. Even the moments that seemed meaningless have been shaping your character. The nights when no one encouraged you taught you to depend on God's voice. The seasons when people misunderstood you taught you to find your identity in heaven instead of human approval. The disappointments that broke your heart taught you compassion for others carrying hidden pain. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing. Even now, you may still be asking why the attacks continue. The answer is simple. Because you are closer than you think. The greatest resistance often appears just before the greatest breakthrough. That does not mean every difficult season is a sign that success is immediately around the corner. But it does mean you should never measure God's faithfulness by today's circumstances. Measure it by every time He carried you through what once seemed impossible. Remember the battles you thought would destroy you. You survived them. Remember the seasons when you believed you would never smile again. You survived them. Remember the moments when fear whispered that your story was over. Yet here you are, still standing, still seeking, still listening. That is not the story of defeat. That is the story of someone heaven refuses to abandon. There is another truth I want you to hear. Darkness studies patterns. It wants you trapped in cycles of fear, doubt, and discouragement. It wants you to believe tomorrow will always look like yesterday. But God is not limited by your past. One act of obedience can redirect your future. One decision to trust Him can open a door that years of striving never could. Never underestimate what God can accomplish through a willing heart. Do not despise the small steps you are taking today. Every prayer matters. Every act of faith matters. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness. Every time you choose hope instead of despair. Every time you choose truth instead of fear, you weaken the grip darkness hoped to keep over your life. Chosen one, you have spent too much time believing your scars were signs of failure. They are not. They are reminders that every attack failed to accomplish its ultimate goal. You are still here because God is not finished with you. And in the next part, Archangel Michael will reveal the hidden strength that darkness never expected you to discover. The authority that begins to grow the moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start walking as someone called by heaven. Chosen one, there is a reason heaven has brought you this far, and it is time for you to understand something that darkness has worked tirelessly to keep hidden from you. The enemy was never afraid of the person you used to be. He was afraid of the person you were becoming. Every difficult season, every unexpected delay, every painful disappointment carried the same hidden objective: to keep your eyes fixed on your wounds instead of your purpose. Because the moment you begin to see yourself the way heaven sees you, fear begins to lose its power. Listen carefully. Many people believe spiritual authority appears overnight. It does not. True authority is born in private places where no one is watching. It is developed in the moments when you choose faith even after another unanswered prayer. It grows every time you forgive someone who never apologized. It becomes stronger every time you worship while your circumstances still look impossible. This is why your journey has been different. God was not only changing your circumstances, He was changing you. If heaven had given you everything you prayed for years ago, you would not have had the wisdom to carry it. Some blessings require a stronger heart before they can safely be placed into your hands. That is why waiting has been part of your training. Think about a soldier preparing for battle. No commander sends an untrained warrior into the greatest conflict. Every lesson, every exercise, every challenge prepares them for the day they must stand firm under pressure. In the same way, heaven has been preparing you, not to survive ordinary days, but to remain faithful during extraordinary moments. Some of the greatest victories in your life have already happened without you realizing it. You walked away from temptations that could have destroyed your future. You survived seasons that should have left you hopeless. You continued believing even when you had no visible evidence that anything was changing. Those were victory. Darkness expected you to quit. It expected bitterness to replace your faith. It expected disappointment to harden your heart. But you kept moving forward, perhaps slowly, perhaps with tears, perhaps with questions. But you kept moving, and every step of obedience weakened the plans that had been formed against you. There is something else you must recognize. Not every battle is meant to be fought by your own strength. Some battles are won the moment you surrender them to God. Too often you have carried burdens that heaven never asked you to carry. You have tried to control outcomes that only God can control. You have replayed conversations, worried about tomorrow, and exhausted yourself trying to solve problems that require divine wisdom instead of human effort. Today, Michael reminds you to release what was never yours to hold. Trust does not mean you understand every answer. Trust means you believe God remains faithful even when the path ahead is unclear. Remember the times when you thought a closed door was the end of your story. Months later, you realized that same closed door protected you from unnecessary pain. Remember the people you begged God to keep in your life. Later, you discovered their departure created room for healthier relationships and greater peace. Heaven sees what you cannot. That is why faith always comes before understanding. Now hear this carefully, because many chosen ones miss this truth. Darkness often attacks your identity before it attacks anything else. If it can convince you that you are insignificant, you will hesitate every time God calls you forward. If it can make you believe you are permanently broken, you will never expect healing. If it can fill your thoughts with fear, you will mistake every challenge as proof that God has abandoned you. But none of those voices belong to heaven. God does not lead through confusion. He leads through truth. And the truth is this: you are not defined by your worst mistake. You are not defined by your deepest wound. You are not defined by the opinions of people who never understood your journey. You are defined by the one who created you with purpose before your first breath. The attacks you experienced were never proof that you were forgotten. They were proof that your future carried value. A thief does not break into an empty house. He searches for what is valuable. In the same way, the resistance you have faced should remind you that heaven has placed something precious inside your life that darkness could never create and therefore desperately tried to stop. Chosen one, the season ahead will require more courage than fear, more faith than doubt, and more obedience than comfort. But do not be discouraged. You will not walk into it alone. The same God who carried you through every battle behind you has already gone before you into every battle ahead. And I, Archangel Michael, remind you of this promise. No attack has ever been greater than God's purpose for your life. No delay has canceled your calling. No disappointment has rewritten heaven's plan. Stand firm. Keep your eyes on God, because what is coming next is greater than anything you have left behind. In the next part, I will reveal the hidden habits that quietly weaken many chosen ones, and the spiritual disciplines that strengthen heaven's warriors before their greatest breakthrough arrives. Chosen one, now that you understand why the battle has followed you for so many years, you must also understand something equally important. Not every attack comes with noise. Some of the greatest battles arrive in complete silence. Darkness does not always appear through obvious temptation or dramatic events. Sometimes it works through small compromises that seem harmless at first. A distracted mind, a discouraged heart, a habit of doubting yourself, a voice that whispers, "You can pray tomorrow, you can obey later, you have plenty of time." One small compromise rarely changes a life overnight, but repeated compromises slowly weaken spiritual strength. This is why you must become watchful. The strongest warriors are not simply those who fight well. They are those who remain alert. They recognize the difference between a temporary emotion and an eternal truth. There were seasons when you believed your greatest enemy was another person, but often your greatest battle was happening inside your own thoughts. Fear told you to stop trying. Shame reminded you of your past. Comparison convinced you that everyone else was moving ahead while you remained behind. Yet none of those voices came from heaven. God has never measured your worth by your speed. He has always measured your heart by your willingness to trust Him. Do not compare your journey with someone else's assignment. Every calling carries a different preparation. Some seeds grow quickly. Others spend years developing strong roots before anyone sees the first sign of growth. You have been growing roots, and deep roots create lasting strength. This is why your waiting season has not been empty. While you thought nothing was happening, God was strengthening your character. He was teaching you patience when you wanted immediate answers. He was teaching you humility when pride would have damaged your future. He was teaching you faith that does not depend on visible evidence. Many people remain faithful only while life is comfortable, but heaven is searching for people who remain faithful when the answers are delayed. That kind of faith cannot be purchased. It is developed. Chosen one, guard your heart carefully in this season. Not everyone who enters your life has permission to remain there. Some people will encourage your purpose. Others will slowly drain your peace. Pay attention to what happens after every conversation. Do you leave feeling closer to God or farther away? Do you leave with greater hope or greater confusion? Your spirit often recognizes what your emotions try to ignore. Do not silence that discernment. God has placed it within you for your protection. You do not have to become cold or unkind. You do not have to judge people, but you must learn healthy boundaries. Even Jesus stepped away from crowds to spend time with the Father. If the Son of God protected His quiet place, how much more should you protect yours? There is another danger many chosen ones never notice: busyness. Not every busy day is a productive day. Darkness does not always need to make you sinful. Sometimes it only needs to make you distracted. If your schedule leaves no room for prayer, no room for reflection, no room to hear God's voice, then your greatest enemy may not be opposition. It may be constant distraction. Guard your mornings. Before the world tells you what to think, allow heaven to remind you who you are. Even a few quiet moments with God can change the direction of your entire day. Speak life over yourself. Thank God before you see the answer. Invite His wisdom before making decisions. These simple habits build extraordinary strength over time. Never underestimate daily obedience. Great destinies are built through ordinary acts of faith repeated again and again. Remember this: darkness fears consistency. One passionate day means little if it is followed by weeks of spiritual sleep. But a heart that seeks God every day becomes increasingly difficult to shake. You do not need to be perfect. You need to remain faithful. When you fall, rise again. When you become tired, rest in God's presence instead of giving up. When doubt appears, answer it with truth. Every time you choose faith over fear, light becomes stronger within you. Chosen one, there are prayers you prayed years ago that heaven has not forgotten. There are promises spoken over your life that are still alive. God's timing is never rushed, but it is never late. The pieces you thought were broken are quietly being placed together. The people meant to help your calling are moving into position. The doors prepared for you will open at the appointed time. Do not mistake silence for absence. Even when you cannot see God's hand, His hand is still guiding your path. And this is why darkness has been fighting you for so long. Not because it is stronger than you, but because it knows something you are only beginning to discover. It knows that the moment you fully believe what heaven says about you, its greatest weapon against you will lose its power. So stand firm, keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking, because your greatest victory will not come from your own strength. It will come from your willingness to stay close to God when every voice around you tells you to quit. And in the final part, Archangel Michael will reveal the last truth every chosen warrior must understand before stepping into the season heaven has prepared for them, and how to walk forward without fear, no matter what darkness tries next. Chosen one, we have come to the final part of this message, but this is not the end of your journey. In many ways, it is only the beginning. Everything you have heard today has been leading to this one truth. Darkness has never been chasing you because it is stronger than you. It has been resisting you because it fears what God can accomplish through a life that is fully surrendered to Him. For years, you have looked at your scars and wondered why they existed. Today, I ask you to look at them differently. Every scar tells the story of a battle you survived. Every tear reminds you that God carried you when your own strength was gone. Every delay became another lesson that prepared you for the road ahead. Nothing has been wasted. Not one prayer. Not one disappointment. Not one lonely night. Even the moments you believed heaven was silent were moments when God was working behind the scenes, arranging circumstances you could not yet see. The enemy wanted you to believe your story was ending, but heaven was preparing a new chapter. Remember this for the days ahead. You will still face challenges. There will still be moments when fear knocks at your door. There will still be seasons that test your patience and your faith. But you are no longer the person you used to be. You now understand that every battle has a purpose. Every trial is an opportunity to grow stronger. Every obstacle is another chance to trust the one who has never failed you. Do not allow yesterday's disappointments to define tomorrow's possibilities. Do not let fear speak louder than God's promises. Walk forward with confidence, not because you know every step ahead, but because you know the one who is leading you. Lift your eyes beyond your circumstances. Heaven has not forgotten your name. Your calling is still alive. Your purpose is still unfolding. The promises God has spoken over your life have not expired. His timing remains perfect. When the right moment comes, no force of darkness will be able to stop what God has decided to release into your life. Until that day, remain faithful. Pray even when you do not feel like praying. Trust even when you cannot see the answer. Love even after disappointment. Forgive even when it feels difficult. Keep your heart pure. Guard your mind. Protect your peace. And never forget that your greatest strength has never come from yourself. It has always come from the God who walks beside you through every valley and every victory. I, Archangel Michael, leave you with this reminder. You are not fighting for victory. Through God's grace, you are learning to walk from a place of hope and faith, trusting Him through every battle. So do not be afraid. Do not surrender to discouragement. The same God who has carried you this far will continue to guide your steps, strengthen your spirit, and open the doors that are meant for your life. Stand firm, remain faithful, and let your light shine even in the darkest places, because darkness has never been able to overcome the light that comes from God. If this message spoke to your heart today, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which part touched you the most. Your testimony may encourage someone else who is walking through a difficult season. If this message strengthened your faith, Please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs this encouragement today. And if you want to continue receiving messages of hope, strength, and spiritual encouragement inspired by Archangel Michael, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next message. May God's peace guard your heart. May His wisdom guide your path. And may His light shine upon you always. Until we meet again, stay strong, stay faithful, and remember, heaven has never stopped watching over you.